since about Strange World number 67. Well, that's really specific. But Terry. And he says, Dear Mark, back in there, awesome. And I want to read a quick email that was sent to me by a man in the military. And he says, Dear Mark, I have listened to your show since about Strange World number 67. Well, that's really specific. But about Strange World 67, but until now, I haven't felt I had anything to contribute to the conversation. Although it's a little math geeky, here goes. Depth pressure is roughly 1 atmosphere per 10 meters of water. I know there's other submarine guys that are listening here. You know who you are, Darren. The crush depth of the most advanced submarines are as follows. And again, if Darren wants to chime in with more advanced stuff, that's fine. But I'm assuming you guys have some of the same information. So don't start cracking down on me, guys. The American Seawolf class steel-walled submarine caps out at 730 meters, which is about 1,080 pounds per square inch. The Soviet Kromoslit cast titanium-walled submarine caps out at about 1,300 meters, or 1,911 psi. I know that's some people say that when I imitate Russian people, I sound like a Russian vampire. And the bathyscaphe Trieste, I believe that's, or however you pronounce it, it's French, I don't care. Scientific, not military, caps out at 10,000, almost 11,000 meters, which is 16,000 pounds per square inch. The Trieste was a 2-man scientific submarine funded by the U.S. Navy. It was a small sphere with 5-inch thick steel walls. It could withstand pressures in excess of 16,000 pounds per square inch. However, according to NASA, the vacuum of space surrounding the ISS is 10 to the negative 9 torr. And by the way, people still write me and say, there's no such thing as negative torr. It's like, look, we're not making this up. We're not just pulling these numbers out of our ass. So 10 to the negative 9 torr, nearly 20 million pounds per square inch of vacuum, which is something like, something 19,300,000 something psi. And Mission Impossible style, it's much worse than you think. The vacuum on the moon is, according to NASA, 10 to the negative 15th. So in conclusion, the ISS operates at a pressure 10 times that of the strongest 5-inch thick steel sub ever created, and the lunar module, not to mention the flexible spacesuit mentioned in your ongoing challenge to mainstream science, scientism, operates at 10 million times that pressure. That's 2,000 trillion pounds per. I don't know if that's true, but it doesn't matter. It's ridiculous, the amount of negative force. The vacuum, no spacesuit, no fabric spacesuit is going to be able to withstand that, which is why, you guys can look this up. The early NASA spacesuits were constructed of plastic and metal because they knew they had to deal with the vacuum force. They're going, there's no way we can do a flexible suit. And they said, he ends it with, they're probably rethinking bragging about using paper-thin aluminum on the LEM right now. So thank you for that. Much appreciated, and I think accurate. And if anyone, again, you think we're kidding here, look up a wonderful video online called, there's multiple videos, called Vacuum versus Steel Rail Car. For whatever reason, the Germans have a fascination with doing this at least once or twice a year, where they take a steel rail car and apply a vacuum field to the inside of it, and it just implodes. And they giggle, and they laugh, and they think it's just great fun. But it shows you, basically the short version is that gravity will never beat a vacuum, ever. It cannot do it. When you suck a soda with a straw out of a glass, you're beating gravity. Why didn't gravity keep the soda in that glass? Well, because you created a vacuum force using your mouth. And that's just you. That's not a lot of vacuum force. I mean, some have more than others, obviously, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Not nearly enough to do it. So tell me how gravity beats the force of a vacuum. And if you say, well, it's our atmosphere, that's a great example. It's like, nope, not a chance.
There's also a couple of videos that Dr. John D did on that subject that I narrated. You can go to his channel and see. Also, I have a video on my channel called Space is Scientifically Impossible, which talks about the second law of thermodynamics and the pressure differential between space and sea level here.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like something like 76 quintillion times difference.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, and again, it's because the general public, including me, I'm not saying that I'm some brainchild, but we are not raised to learn much about physics or engineering or chemistry or biology or any of that stuff, especially physics, engineering, and chemistry. And that's what we're talking about here: basic physics, which is pressure versus non-pressure. It seems like a simple concept, but the ramifications are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, again, look up some deep pressure oil rig accidents when pressure walls fail, and it's not like the movies. That's the big thing I should probably stress. It is not like the movies, where you get a hole in your spacesuit or the hole in the spaceship. It's like, oh my God, we only have 2 minutes of air left. Somebody get the duct tape. But Darren Wagner did a fantastic video on that, where he stopped watching Star Trek Enterprise because they got a hole in the side, venting straight to space, and he plugged it with his finger and then did a temporary fix with meatloaf. And Darren, coming from a submarine background, it was painful. I mean, I think he got an aneurysm from it, from just watching that episode. There's no way. I mean, it is instant. It is violent. It is within a fraction of a second. Everything in that spaceship, all atmosphere is gone. Every ounce in your lungs, your blood immediately starts to boil at room temperature. It's a horrible way to die, and it would be instant. Well, it wouldn't be that horrible, I suppose, because it'd be instant. So